Welcome back to Introduction to Linux. My name is Connor Meisner-Toops, and I'm your guide through this series. You are watching video 3 on file management. In this video, we're going to go over creating, moving, copying, and ultimately deleting files. In the last video, we looked at navigating around the terminal. In this video, we're going to look into file management. Let's go ahead and open up Terminal. First thing we want to do is make sure we know what directory we're on. Now let's look at what's on the desktop. Since we had no output, it means the desktop is empty. Let's go ahead and create a file. We can do this with the touch command. Now, if we ls the desktop, we can see that we've created an example file. If we do ls-l, we can get lots of information about each file. If you're not sure what the -l command does, you can use the manual command to find out more. As you can see, the lowercase l command uses the long format. Now we know touch created this example file, but what touch actually does is update timestamps. As you can see, by running touch again on the same file, all we've done is update the time the file was last accessed. If you want to view what's inside the file, you can use the cat command. Since we've not actually added anything to the file, we got no output. Additionally, we can confirm the file exists by minimizing the terminal and looking on the desktop. As you can see, the example file is empty. Let's go ahead and add some text and save the file. If we go back to the terminal and cat the example file again, we can see that we've added some text. An important thing to note about Linux and the Linux terminal is that it does not need file extensions. Here's an example. If we touch some other example dot text, we can see we've created two separate files, and we can cat both files the same way. Again, if you look on the desktop, you can see there are two example files. If we add some text and save the file and return to the terminal, we can see it acts the exact same way. Again, if you ever need to know more about a command, you can use the manual or info command to get more information. Next, let's try removing a file. In Linux, you can remove a file with the rm command. Let's go ahead and remove the some other example text file. Now, if we ls the desktop, we only have the example, as you can see here. Sometimes you need to make a new directory in addition to new files. Currently, we only have an example file on the desktop. If you need to make an example directory, you can do that with the mkdir command. Let's make some directory. If we ls the desktop, you can see we have an example file and some dir, or some directory. You can tell that these two are files and directories based on the color provided by the ls command. Returning to the GUI desktop confirms this. Let's go ahead and move the example file into some dir. We can do this with the move or mv command. The syntax for move is mv target destination. In this case, we're moving the example file into some dir being our destination. Now if we ls the desktop, we can see that there is only some dir. If we go inside of some dir and then ls it, we can see we've moved the example file into it. We can confirm this. By catting the file, we can confirm that it is the exact same file. Now from within some dir, let's copy it back to the desktop. You can copy with cp target destination. Remember from the last video, ... refers to parent. If I do this command, I can ls to see that example is still on some dir, and then I can move up to the parent, as you can see, parent, and ls it. Now we have a copy of example within some dir and an example within the desktop. Additionally, we can use the move and copy command to rename files. For example, with the move command, I can move example to some other example. Now, if we ls the desktop, we can see that we no longer have the example file, but we now have some other example. We can also duplicate the file with the copy command. Effectively copying it to the same location with a different file name. As you've seen before, the ls command has multiple options. Many Linux commands actually have multiple options. For example, the remove command can remove recursively with the -r command. If we remove recursively into a directory, like some dir, it will effectively remove all the files and the directory from some dir. Some commands also allow you to chain. For example, remove example and some other example will remove both files. Well, that concludes this video. Make sure you understand each of the commands we covered in this video. If you need to, feel free to rewatch it. In the next video, we're going to look at file output. See you then.